Games Workshop have got a tried and tested history of bringing out fantastic products to the Wargames market, the tabletop and for mini painting. Let's see if we can keep that standard going. Let's see what's coming out of the box. So here we are, starting at the very beginning, the very first out of the box video on the new Out of the Box channel. I've watched an awful lot of videos about war games and wargaming and the Games Workshop hobby in particular, but I've never made one. So I do expect this to be truly atrocious. I don't have any games behind me, I don't have a purpose-built games room, I don't have any stock to display. It's just the kitchen table and me and a big, quite heavy brown box from Games Workshop. Let's see what's in the box and get it out of the box. Well, the first thing that we can see is that we've got a decent amount of airbagging and protection, so I'll just discard that willfully. And the first thing I can see, I don't know if you can see the same as I can see, is apart from copious amounts of safe packaging, we've also got some books and an invoice which I'll hide from you and the wife. Ha ha ha. Right, well the first thing that I can see is that we have some items from the brilliant new Lumineth Realm Lords range, and indeed a book supporting the same and another book supporting the same. So let us see what we have. Well, the first thing we have is we have this book. Now this book is the first novel I will have read in the Realm Lords series, and this book has been written by Dale Lucas, who is not an author that I am familiar with. So the Lumineth, as I'm sure you know and probably know more than I, are the Age of Sigmar equivalents of the High Elves. So these are the inheritors of the high magic that was bestowed upon them after the sundering of the old world by the new elven god Tyrion and his mage brother Teclis. And the development of the Lumineth is really interesting and gives them a character which is quite unique and disparate from the old High Elves. Now, this is a hardbound book, really solidly made, with a fantastic cover, and as always with Games Workshop, the corporate advertising and colour scheming has been very carefully thought out. So everything to do with the Lumineth has this aqua green accent tint and these bluish cool colours, which is mirrored, curiously enough, in the Lumineth War Scroll cards. You can see those colours are mirrored again, and we'll be having a look at those a little bit later. And the Lumineth Realm Lord dice, which we shall also be looking at a little bit later, and I'll come back to the actual book. What does it say about the book? Right, okay, this is the blurb. A single harrowing trial stands between supplicant Ferendir and a life of loyal service to his Alarith temple. So the Alarith are the spirits with the Lumineth realm is actually constructed, the spirits of life and rock especially. On the day of this young elf's final initiation, a Slaaneshi war host descends upon his mountain home. So I'm not going to read the whole thing for you, but as well as the introduction of the Lumineth as a race into the Age of Sigmar milieu, we also have the setting for the reintroduction of the Dark Prince himself, Slaanesh, whose machinations and the endless searching of his followers to restore him to power in this realm, to something like the glory he had in the old world, forms an underwhelming and overrunning narrative through, underrunning I meant to say, not underwhelming, an underrunning and narrative going all the way through the recent fiction and the New Army books, which are setting the tone very, very clearly for a slow return to power and ultimate showdown with the existing gods. Now you will remember, and I will talk about this a bit more on another video, that at the end of the day Slaanesh was shattered into a position where he could not fight back and imprisoned, and that was largely at the agency, unsurprisingly, of the elves. Now the Lumineth Realm Lord cards, let's have a look at these War Scroll cards. What's the easiest way of getting in? Well, that probably wasn't the easiest way of getting in, but there always is a tactic, and the tactic is to find a line that I can actually score without cutting into the material. But it never is an easy job, and this one is even less easy than normal, but there is a technique, and that was the technique. So we have these Lumineth Realm cards to reinforce the game, so you don't have to keep referring to the rule book. So they open at the top like so. So it's a simple sleeve, solidly constructed, and we have the imagery, the Lumineth imagery on the back, and a little bit of information. The Lords of Hysh shall reclaim the realms entire. So the Lumineth, the old High Elves, have control of the realm of Hysh, one of the realms that make up the Age of Sigmar setting. But their ambition does not stop there. And if you thought the old High Elves were haughty and distant from the other races, wait till you come across this lot, because they are downright arrogant, more or less like the Eldar in 40k. So there we have all of these cards. Now I think I don't know yet, I might take some photographs and pan through each of these. So there, for example, is the Sanctum of Amin-Tok. Now this is a single endless spell. So as you know, Games Workshop are now marketing the endless spells as actual three-dimensional constructs like models that you can paint up and move around on your battlefield, your Age of Sigmar battlefield. So there's this Sanctum of Amin-Tok. There are the Hyshian twin stones, and so it goes on. There are various different things, and then of course there are specific War Scroll cards for Sack the Juggler, specific War Scroll cards for individual characters. So for example, the Archmage Teclis, and there's colour text, and more importantly for gaming purposes, the stat line. And then the same for the Venari Aurelian Sentinels, and the Lumineth Realm Lords, and then the Skinari Cathalar. So various, all of the effects, the games, the main characters, the troop types like the Stone Guard, or protective wards like the Rune of Petrification, and so it goes on. So all you need, apart from the models and a bit of scenery, to actually play with the Lumineth Realm Lords in the Age of Sigmar setting. So that was very nice. So they come in this pack, just to remind you, and I shall dispose of them and put them with my unpainted Lumineth stuff. And the other thing that I've got as an aid to my overall enjoyment and to reinforce the colour text and the ambience of playing with these guys is something even more exciting. You notice when people are making videos, they always open things with much greater speed and clumsiness than they would in an ordinary setting. It's the pressure, it's the pressure. So there we are, something very different there. So if you're expecting your normal cubiform six-sided dice, you ain't got them. Well, you have got six-sided dice, but they're very different because they look like that. So they are essentially odd. I don't really have the setup to roll them. I don't know if you can see this very well. Maybe if I move that slightly so I can roll these dice. So they have the numbers. They have the numbers, so I'll find a 1 for you. Okay, so there's a 1, and then there's a 4 and a 5 and a Hessian glyph for a 6 and a 3 and a 2. So the numbers 2, 3, 4 are regular combinations of dots, and then there are the skull. Nobody wants to roll a 1, and then there's the glory of the rune of Hish. We all will be successful before the rune of Hish if you roll a 6. So, how do they roll? How do you roll, my friend? Well, I roll, get off, get off, get off, get off, get off. I roll like this. Yeah, and they're really easy to read. So 1, 1, 1, 6, and a 4, a 5, another 6, another 5, another 4, another 5, and another 4. I wish this was Blood Bowl. So that's not bad at all. Get rid of the 1, get rid of the 6s, and then I've got everything else is above a 3. Absolutely marvellous. So they're fun. They're good to hold, and yeah, I like them. I like them. So I'll get rid of them. Get rid of them. Out of the box. Dice, 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 dice. I'm dicing with death here. Making a video about war games. I can't believe I'm doing it. So I'll sort these out when I finish talking to you. And then we have more dice, more dice, more dice. So we have exactly 3 sets of Necromunda general dice. Now I've also got faction dice. I've also got some Eldar dice, the House of Blades, and I've also got some Goliath dice, the House of Chains. But what I wanted to get to was, dramatic pause, the main Necromunda rule book. Now again, I've got some of the recently arrived faction books. The House of Ruin has just arrived, and the Enforcer's book and a couple of others. So that's the Necromunda rule book. I'm going to talk about that more, I think, in another video. I'm not going to open that now. But what I did want to look at was the Lumineth Realm Lord book, because it has been a bit of a Lumineth focus, and I don't know if I need to. Should I use the knife and risk damaging the book? No, I shall use the nail. The nail of Shyish shall be my opening tool, and I shall open the book with a power that you humans do not possess, a sharpness that you are unaware of, with great clarity that only we Lumineth possess. So I kind of imagine the Lumineth talking like the elven characters in Lord of the Rings. 7 there were set out from Rivendell, and 6 there are now. Where are the others, pray tell? Yeah, that's enough of that. So, and we've also got dun, 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 the Lumineth Realm Lord Battle Tome. And of course there's those colours reinforced again, the aquas and the cool colours, and the snow and the mountain and the stone. It's the same size as the other Age of Sigmar books, which we again will come back to in other videos, but we've already seen. Ooh, look at this, it's just so good, it's just so good. Okay, so we've got, for example, some great pictures of the Alarith mountain spirits. Okay, and if you don't like them, don't have a cow, just carry on doing your own thing. This is a beautiful book, absolutely beautifully laid out. And as always with these Age of Sigmar books, it starts off with the background, well, it starts off with the contents really, and is absolutely replete with these brilliant full page, full colour illustrations. So there's a one there of the Lumineth army. There's the background from the Age of Myth, the rise of the Enlightenment, the toppling of the spires, the 10 paradises of Hysh. What is all this? What is all this stuff? And of course one of the big fascinations and one of the themes that Games Workshop are developing is this idea of the Lumineth playing with impossible geometry. So you'll see enormous blocks of stone balancing on one corner on another corner atop a pyramid. And on top of the pyramid there'll be an upside down pyramid, and sitting on the upside down pyramid there'll be a Haitian sorcerer meditating on the futility of life and wondering where the slan went. Well, it's just great. There's painting guides and just so much. And of course it wouldn't be Games Workshop's marketing if it didn't also show you pages upon pages of superbly painted figures making up an army, so that subconsciously you think, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy an army and I'm going to paint it just like the ones there, and it's going to be that good. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. So there we are. That was the first experimental video for the Out of the Box channel. I'm now going to retire to start putting all my stuff together. The first thing I'm going to read is I'm going to read the Lumineth Realm Lord book. So I've got some idea of how they all fit inside the Age of Sigmar and how it all goes together. Then I'm probably going to read the novel, and the Necromunda stuff I'm going to come back to in another video when we start talking about skirmish games in 40k, particularly focusing on Necromunda. And then I'm going to roll some dice. They're very much like the runes I think that the Viking shamans, shamans and magicians would use, aren't they? You just imagine these being whittled from the bone of a bison. So on a D6 I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to look back at the video and see how it's all worked out, and if it's any good I might even make another one. And if it's not any good, I might not. You just never know. Thanks for watching Out of the Box. Brief introduction to the Lumineth. We'll develop this a lot more in the future. Bye for now, and thanks for tuning in to Out of the Box. See you soon. Bye.